We've gotten more than 100 million views and tens of thousands of signups to our product through partnerships with TikTokers. All kinds of consumer companies, super fast growing brands all over the world are partnering with TikTok creators to drive revenue, drive signups, drive traffic, drive sales. And you might be thinking this is a really good idea for you, but scratching your head about how to actually find these people. So in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 different ways you can go about finding TikTok creators and which things to keep in mind as you do so. So the first method, and honestly, this is the tried and true way to do this. This is how scaling companies find creators and manage other parts of their influencer marketing workflow: buy a dedicated tool. Now, this of course is going to cost you a little bit of cash, but it's definitely the way to go if you're getting serious about this kind of partnerships. Okay, so let's dive into a tool, Modash, and I'll demonstrate how you could find TikTokers inside of this tool. Super easy, lightning fast. Now, Modash as a database lists literally every TikToker on Earth with more than 1,000 followers. So it's like 100 million people to choose from. The perfect fit for you is definitely in here. Let's do a hypothetical example, and I'll show you how I would find people for, say, a new yoga mat company that's looking to acquire customers in the US. Basically, how it works is we apply a few little filters here. So we can choose a follower range. For example, let's take really small creators in this case. Maybe we want to work with smaller creators because we have a low budget, for example, or we're doing a gifting campaign. So we can add 5,000 to 25,000 followers. It's really important that we reach that correct target audience. So let's apply a filter for women, maybe between 25 and 44. And of course, as mentioned, based in the United States. And let's throw a keyword in here. So maybe in the bio, they have the word yoga. So we know that the content is going to be one way or another on target, on topic, and converting. Quick tip, if you do decide to give Modash a try, you want to add 1 or 2 filters at a time. Run your search, check the results, and then iterate on your search. You don't want to go in there and apply tons of filters. You just won't get any results. Your search will be too narrow, and it'll be hard to understand how to actually optimize your search. That quickly, just applying 3 searches, we already have more than 250 results that meet our criteria, and we pretty much have 3 options what we can do now. We can click on a result and check out their data, so where their audience is, what they're talking about. We can see their content really quickly in here. Or we can go back to our search and make it even more narrow. So for example, we can add an engagement rate, and this will make sure that all the creators that appear in the search, it'll give you fewer results, of course, but they'll all have an engagement rate that's above average or above 2%. Or if we want to, we can open the search up. So if you feel like you need even more results, then, for example, consider expanding the follower range or removing one of the filters, and this will open it up in order to see more results. Worth noting, Modash, you can try it totally for free for like 14 days and get a feel for how running searches and finding creators works. If you haven't worked with creators before, probably the free trial is going to give you enough already to secure those first few partnerships. So that's the first way, and honestly the most practical way to go about finding creators. Most definitely, if you take your partnership seriously and grow them over time, you're gonna need a tool like this. So I highly recommend this is the route you take right from the beginning, but I will show you a few more ways. First, let's talk about like what you're actually looking for here. So the perfect creator, what does it mean? Who do you actually hunt for as you take on this task? It can seem daunting. I think the rule of thumb for finding the perfect creator is really the one that perfectly reaches your target audience. So it's not necessarily whether or not you personally enjoy the content or something like that. It's really about whether or not your target audience and the creator's audience match really heavily. So if you're targeting, like we said, women above 25 in the US talking like interested in yoga, then it's an important thing to focus on when searching for those people. So what is a perfect creator? Well, the perfect creator is one that perfectly matches and reaches your target audience. So for example, if you're targeting the US, it doesn't make a ton of sense to work with people whose audience is primarily in Germany, because that reach is just wasted. So make sure you're reaching the right location. Super important. And a tool like Modash will help you make sure that that's the case. When you're first kicking off and discovering people, I recommend you start small. Usually I recommend somewhere between 50 and 100,000 followers. That's because one, they're way easier to reach than celebrities. Two, they cost a lot less to partner with, generally speaking. Three, they have strong relationships with their audience. So typically you'll find their audiences are really highly engaged compared to big macro celebrities. So all of that means that it's much cheaper and faster, more affordable generally to partner with like 20 people who have 50,000 followers than it does one giant person with 1 million followers. The third tip I have before we move on to more methods of finding creators is to experiment. So once you've partnered with the first few creators and you see the content go up and you have some data on how well it's working, run some little experiments. Try different follower ranges or different topics that the creator speaks about, different audience demographics even. Running those little experiments and optimizing over time is going to be the difference between a pretty good influencer marketing function and a world-class, this is my best channel type of function. Now that all of that's out of the way, the second method for finding TikTok creators that you could partner with, the TikTok Creator Marketplace. Now, Creator Marketplace is TikTok's own branded marketplace for finding creators that are open to partnerships. It has some advantages and some big disadvantages. First, starting with the advantages, one thing that's really cool is that all the creators in there are proactively looking for brands to partner with. So that's really great start. Everyone's intent is the same on that platform. The other thing is all the data is verified by TikTok. So it's really nice to be able to see all the audience demographics, same as the platform we mentioned earlier, Modash. But in this case, it comes directly from TikTok, which is nice to know. And inside the marketplace, creators list their starting prices. So how much it's going to cost you to actually secure the partnership is really transparent from the beginning. So that's pretty nice too. Now, there is some really significant limitations that for most of the people watching will keep you out of the creator marketplace. It's only available in 24 countries. So if you're running global creator partnerships, this isn't going to work for you. They also only list people with more than 100,000 followers. So this is already getting into a much larger follower base, which means it's a little bit more expensive and really reduces the range of people you can work with. It's also invite only. So TikTok actually has to invite each individual creator to the marketplace. And all of those restrictions just leave you with a really narrow pool, and you're going to miss a lot of great opportunities to work with folks who aren't in there. So the marketplace might be a good fit for you. For example, if you are a larger company that just wants to tinker a little bit with partnerships and isn't really planning on scaling it out a lot, maybe you're looking to partner with one or two really significant creators on TikTok, you know, the Charli D'Amelios of the world, that kind of thing, then marketplace could be a really good fit. The third method of finding TikTok influencers, it is, you guessed it, Google search. Google is really good at finding stuff. If you haven't noticed that, I highly recommend you check it out. Google. Great product, great tool. Use it every day. If you go to Google and you type in your industry and then plus TikTok influencers or top TikTok influencers, something like that, then you will typically get a couple of search results that have a list of 10 or 15 creators that meet that criteria. Google is pretty good at getting those results even right in the featured snippet at the top. But of course, there is a problem with that, and that's that most of those lists are going to be of really, really giant creators that you've already heard of. So if you look up the top influencers in the US, there's a good chance you're going to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kim Kardashian way at the top of that list. And of course, these aren't probably super relevant to your brand and way too big to be kind of reasonable target for your campaign. There is a couple ways to overcome this. You can try throwing in terms like micro or nano. Sometimes this will shrink the size of the creators. You won't only end up with giant celebrities. You can also choose like a sub-genre in your niche of choice. So if you would otherwise put fitness, then consider windsurfing or some specific sport or area of fitness. This might find you more niche creators. Or you can try adding a geography, so like a small country or a city or a state. This will help you narrow it down a bit as well. It's going to take you some time, probably a lot of trial and error, but eventually if you keep on searching, you might be able to build a small list of creators that will actually meet your criteria. Method number 4 in our list of ways to find TikTok creators, and this works regardless of the platform you're working on, and frankly, you should probably be doing it alongside your other discovery methods anyways. It's inbound capture, capturing creators who want to work with you who just land on your site or hear about you otherwise. Now, this works super well if you already have an existing brand or some existing base of content creators that are publishing for you, so other creators see them and might get curious if they could work with you as well. And it's super easy to execute on. It's very passive in a way once you get it set up properly. The big underlying step here is to create some kind of a landing page, a place where creators can easily find, understand a little bit more about who you and your brand are, what type of creators you like to partner with, and gives them a chance to apply through a form, like a type form or a Google form. You can see the example we have here, actually, which is from Bolt, which is one of Europe's fastest growing companies and has really successfully leveraged this strategy. Now, on this landing page I mentioned, you do really heavily want to focus on the why of your company. Why do you exist? Why should anybody be interested in partnering with you? But you can also include other things like FAQs that all creators should know about partnering with you. How often do you pay out? What budget ranges do you typically pay in? Can they expect some gifting on top of that? How to get in contact with you? All of those like FAQs that everybody wants to know, as well as some content inspiration. What kind of content's working well? Give creators something to kind of soundboard off of and brainstorm with. Now, once you've built this little inbound capture page, you want to put it in the footer of your website, your email signature. You want to get it out there so people actually know that, one, you're recruiting for these type of partnerships, and two, where to go to apply. Makes sense, right? Once you do that, you'll find that websites and articles will start to mention this page as well. So, for example, you can see here that Lady Boss Blogger is listing programs that creators in a certain niche can join. And if you had your landing page set up, you very well might be in a list like that, or even a few of them. Plus, if any creators start Googling for the ambassador program for your brand, then there you are, right at the top of the search results. Fifth and final method of this video that you can give a spin is working with a TikTok agency or somebody who actually contracts with a bunch of TikTokers directly, already has the existing relationships. Now, that's one of the big pros of this approach, is that if they already have the relationships, the recruitment's going to be much faster. They probably already know some people who might be a fit for your brand, so working with an agency can be good from that perspective. Plus, they have a ton of hands-on experience with this already, which can be really helpful if you're just getting started and you're not really sure what you're doing. This will save your team's time, and you'll be able to avoid a lot of the heavy lifting and any trial and error you might have to suffer through to get communication done and that kind of thing. They're going to take all of that off your hands. Now, this is also a curse in a way because, and now this brings me to the cons of working with an agency, they then own that relationship. That relationship is no longer between you, the brand, and the creator. It's between the creator and the agency. You can't iterate on that relationship over time in general without going through the agency, whose job really is to make you happy with as little communication and as little complexity as possible. So it can really end up being a big regret down the road, because if you see that partnerships are kind of working, then you'll kind of scratch your head and realize you're paying a premium because this agency is doing something you could be doing in-house. You're not able to optimize this over time because you don't control the relationship. And so you really end up stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you drop the agency and start from scratch with your own program? Or do you suffer the big overhead costs and the lack of control? Frankly, I always prefer if people bring things in-house, because it's really not that much overhead to do it in-house. It's typically cheaper, and you have way more control. Not to mention, you know your business and your product and your target market and the kind of message that they want to get way better than an agency ever can. You should be the most knowledgeable person about your company and your brand, so it doesn't always make sense to outsource the creative aspects of that, or the kind of relationship building aspects of relaying that information. And one last small note, even though they have that existing network, that can also mean they're really limited in the network size, where you might go out and just try to find the best of the best to represent your company. They're going to find the best of the small group of people that they know. And so it's always an opportunity cost there. Thank you so much. I hope this video was very useful. I leave you with one closing thought, and that's that there are endless possibilities on this platform, and I promise you haven't exhausted all of the potential partnerships on TikTok. No matter how niche your product is, there is an army of creators out there ready and willing and hoping that you'll reach out so they can tell the story of your company and your product in a compelling way to their audience, so their audience will convert. and that creator gets to earn a living doing the thing they love, and it's a win-win-win-win-win in that sense. If you find that you're having a really tough time building a short list of creators that fit your company, you might need to expand your imagination a little bit. You don't necessarily need somebody who's constantly speaking about the exact thing that you do, but you need to find people who can tell a compelling story to the audience that you want to reach. Instead of lamp influencers, you're looking for creators that can tell an interesting story about interior design to an audience that might be buying things for their new home. That could be anybody who reaches audiences in their 20s, for example, who have a more sophisticated taste and style. As long as the audience is in your target location, your target age range, and your creator is willing to try hard to convert customers for you, then you're on the right track. So don't narrow your scope too much. Reach out to us anytime you need help. And thank you so much for tuning in. Catch you in the next video.